guys. We are getting ready to read Frindle, or I am getting ready to read Frindle to you. We are on chapter 7. So far, we have learned that our character, Nick, he is kind of a mischievous he's not a little kid. He's a 5th grader, so he is a middle schooler. He is in Mrs. Granger's English class, and we've learned that Mrs. Granger is an veteran teacher, so she has taught for many years. She's kind of set in her ways, but that also means that she has been there, done that, seen all of those tricks that he has been trying to play. The first day of school, he tried to get away with delaying the class and not having homework. So instead, he got 2 assignments. The rest of the class just had 1. He had 2 assignments. His extra assignment was to do an oral report. And he did do his research. I was very impressed by his research. But during his oral report, he tried to stretch it on forever, which was his second mischievous thing. But that so he didn't have homework, and they didn't have class, basically. But that didn't work because, once again, Mrs. Granger has seen it all, been there, done that. So in the next 8 minutes of class that they had left, she was able to speed through all of it, and they still had their homework. Wow, what a teacher. So now, the last chapter that they were in, him and his friend, I'm trying to think what her name was. I don't want to tell you wrong. Oh man, I don't want to tell you wrong. He was on his way home with Janet, and they were going they were in the school newspaper, so they stayed they stayed after school late, so they weren't on the bus, so they were walking home. And then he had the bright idea that what Miss Granger said. She said, well, what makes a word dog mean dog is you, Nicholas, you. So he had the bright idea that he was going to make up a word, and that word was Frindle. Frindle is the word that he is making up, and that word means pen. So he has went to the basically a store in town, and he was like, can I have a Frindle, please? And the lady was like, what are you talking about? And he kept asking just for a Frindle, a black one, please, and kept saying it, and he finally got her to give him a black pen. Well, then later, he had other friends come and join him not him personally, but he just had other friends do this exact same thing. So the word Frindle is catching on. So this is now his 3rd mischievous thing, all with just Mrs. Granger. Sorry. My son joined me downstairs. So, we are on chapter 7, and this is called Word Wars. I wonder, what do you know about the word wars? Whenever I think of the word wars, I think of something. I wonder what you think of it. You can type below. Tell me what you think of wars. Okay, I'm going to get started. School was the perfect place to launch a new word, and since this was a major historical event, Nick wanted it to begin in exactly the right class. 7th period language arts. I agree. Yes, I think it means fight. Nick raised his hand first thing after the bell rang and said, Mrs. Granger, I forgot my Frindle. Oh no, what is Mrs. Granger going to think about that? Sitting 3 rows away, John blurted out, "I have an extra one you can borrow, Nick." Then John made a big show of looking for something in his backpack. "I think I have an extra Frindle. I told my mom to get me 3 or 4. I'm sure I have an extra Frindle in here yesterday. I had an extra Frindle in here yesterday, but I must have taken it. Yeah, here it is." And then John made a big show of throwing it over to Nick, and Nick missed it on purpose. I wonder what Mrs. Granger thinks about the big show of production number 1 and the Frindle being thrown in the classroom number 2. Oh. Then he made a big show of finding it. Mrs. Granger and every kid in the class got the message loud and clear. That black plastic thing that Nick borrowed from John had a funny name. A different name. A new name. Frindle. There was a lot of giggling, but Mrs. Granger turned up the power in her eyes and swept the room into silence. I wonder what that would look like. And the rest of the class went by according to plan, her plan. As everyone was leaving after class, Mrs. Granger said, "Nicholas, I'd like to have a word with you." And she emphasized the word word. So it might have said something like, "Nicholas, I'd like to have a word with you." Nick's mouth felt dry and he gulped but his mind stayed clear. He walked up to her desk. "Yes, Mrs. Granger?" "It's a funny idea, Nicholas, but I will not have my class disrupted again. Is that clear?" Her eyes lit up, but it was mostly light, not much heat. What does that mean? "Idea? What idea?" asked Nick. He tried to make his eyes as blank as possible. "You know what I mean, Nicholas. I am talking about the performance that you and John gave at the start of the class. And I am talking about this." And she held up her pen. An old maroon fountain pen with a blue cap. "But I really didn't have a Frindle with me," said Nick, amazed at his own bravery. And hiding behind his glasses, Nick kept his eyes wide and blank. Mrs. Granger's eyes flashed and then narrowed, and her lips formed a thin, hard line. "Oh no," she said. She was quiet for a few seconds, and then she said, "I see. Very well. Then I guess we will have nothing more to discuss today, Nicholas. You may go." "Thanks, Mrs. Granger," said Nick, and he grabbed his backpack and headed for the door. And when he was just stepping into the hallway, he said, "And I promise I won't ever forget my Frindle again. Bye." Oh my gracious. She just told him to knock off that business, and then he went and did it not once but twice in front of her. What do you think about that? Would you do that? Give me a comment below. Would you ever do that with your teacher? Would you be super serious about it? Would you be joking about it? If you knew that your teacher was really not liking it, what would you do? Would you apologize? Would you continue? It seems like he is very mischievous to me. Oh my gracious. This is such an interesting book. I love the book, Frindle. If you have not caught up on the first 7 chapters, please do. Check out the rest of the YouTube videos. You are missing a great book if you haven't been listening. That is all of chapter 7. Next time we will be reading chapter 8, and the title of that one is Mightier Than a Sword. Oh dear. Okay, until next time.